The Galactic Military Academy's training hall fell silent as Commander Zekthu's massive form towered over the cowering Valerian cadet. The insectoid officer's forearms gestured menacingly, his chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the harsh fluorescent lights. Around them, cadets from a dozen different species watched in uncomfortable silence. Weakness, Zekthu hissed, his mandibles clicking with disdain. This is what happens when inferior species are allowed into our ranks. The Valerian cadet, barely reaching the commander's chest, trembled as green blood trickled from a cut above. His large, doe-like eyes. Zekthu had struck him with the back of his primary hand, a disciplinary action, he called it, though everyone knew it was simple cruelty. Let this be a lesson to all of you, Zekthu continued, his voice carrying across the training hall. The galaxy is not kind to the weak. Better you learn this here than die pathetically in real combat. In the back of the formation, human cadet. Marcus Chun stood rigid, his jaw clenched so tight his teeth ached. The other human cadets, there were only 6 in the entire academy, flanked him, their faces masks of barely controlled rage. Humans were still new to the Galactic Alliance, their species having only made contact 5 years prior. They were viewed with curiosity by some species, indifference by others, and outright suspicion by most. The Valerian cadet tried to speak, his voice a barely audible whisper. "Sir, I was just asking about the weapons. Zekthu's secondary." Arm lashed out, striking the cadet across the face with enough force to send him sprawling. Several cadets winced, but none moved. They couldn't. Military protocol was absolute. "Did I give you permission to speak?" Zekthu roared, advancing. On the fallen cadet. "Your species survived this, long only because you hide in caves and breed like vermin. You have no place among warriors." The Valerian tried to crawl backward, but Zekthu's massive foot came down on his leg. Not enough to break it, but enough to pin him and cause significant pain. The cadet's anguished cry echoed through the hall. "Stop." The single word cut through the tension like a plasma blade. Every head turned toward the source. Marcus Chun had stepped forward, his brown eyes locked on Zekthu with an intensity that made several nearby cadets instinctively step back. Zekthu's compound eyes fixed on the human, his mandibles spreading in what passed for a smile among his species. "Ah, the primitive speaks. Tell me, human, do you object to my methods?" Marcus took another step forward, his hands clenched at his sides. "I object to watching a superior officer torture a cadet for asking a legitimate question about equipment. Maintenance." A ripple of shock ran through the assembled cadets. No one spoke to Zekthu like that. The commander was known throughout the academy for his brutality, his belief that only the strongest species deserved to wear the uniform of the Galactic Alliance. He had broken cadets before, literally and figuratively. Torture? Zekthu released. The Valerian and straightened to his full height, nearly 8 feet tall. "This is education, human. Something your soft pink species knows nothing about." "Education?" Marcus's voice remained level, but those who knew him could hear the dangerous edge creeping in. "What exactly is the lesson here, sir? That bigger means stronger? That cruelty equals leadership?" Zekthu's secondary arms twitched, a sign of growing agitation among his species. "The lesson, you ignorant ape, is that weakness has no place in the military. Your friend there," he gestured dismissively at the injured Valerian, "will get real soldiers killed with his incompetence." "He asked about weapon maintenance protocols," Marcus replied, taking another step closer. "That's not incompetence. That's diligence." "Silence!" Zekthu's voice boomed through the hall. "You will return to formation, or you will join him on the ground." Marcus looked down at the Valerian cadet, who was trying to sit up despite his injuries. The young alien's large eyes met his, and Marcus saw something that made his chest tighten, gratitude mixed with resignation. The cadet expected no one to help him. He was used to being alone. "No," Marcus said simply. The word hung in the air like an armed explosive. Zektu's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sound like breaking glass. "What did you say?" I said no. Marcus moved until he was standing between the commander and the injured cadet. "I won't return to formation, and I won't watch you brutalize someone for doing their job." Zektu's laugh was a harsh, chittering sound. Brave words from a species that hasn't even mastered interstellar travel without our help. "Very well, human. Let me educate you as well." The commander's primary fist came down like a hammer, aimed at Marcus's head. But where the Valerian had cowered, Marcus moved. He sidestepped the blow with fluid grace, his hand shooting up to catch Zektu's secondary arm as it followed up. The sound of chitin cracking echoed through the hall. Zektu's eyes widened in surprise and pain. "Impossible. Humans are weak. Your species barely registers on the strength index." Marcus's grip tightened, and another crack echoed through the hall. "We might not be the strongest," he said conversationally, "but we're stubborn as hell, and we really don't like bullies." The commander's third arm swung around, but Marcus was already moving. He released Zektu's injured arm and ducked under. The swing, his fist driving up into the soft junction between the alien's chest plates. Zektu staggered backward, his breathing becoming labored. "You dare!" Zektu wheezed, all four arms now moving in a coordinated attack pattern. "I'll crush you, primitive." But Marcus wasn't there anymore. Years of growing up in Detroit had taught him that size wasn't everything. His father, a boxer, had shown him that speed and timing could overcome raw power. His military training had refined those lessons into something deadly. He wove between Zektu's strikes like water, each movement precise and economical. When he struck back, it was with surgical precision hitting nerve clusters, joint connections, and soft spots in the commander's natural armor. Each blow was calculated to maximize pain and minimize his own exposure. The hall erupted in shocked murmurs as the mighty Zektu, terror of the academy, found himself being systematically dismantled by a human barely half his size. "This is impossible," Zektu gasped, his movements becoming sluggish. "Your species ... You're not warriors ... Marcus caught the commander's primary arm in a joint lock, applying pressure until Zektu dropped to one knee. "You're right," he sighed, his voice calm despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. "We're not warriors by nature. We're persistence hunters. We don't give up. Ever." With a swift motion, Marcus's elbow connected with a nerve cluster at the base of Zektu's skull. The massive alien's eyes rolled back, and he collapsed unconscious to the training hall floor. The silence that followed was deafening. Nearly 200 cadets from across the galaxy stared at the unconscious form of their most feared instructor, then at the human standing over him, breathing hard but unmarked. Marcus turned to help the Valerian cadet to his feet. "You okay?" The young alien nodded, his large eyes wide with amazement. Yes, thank you. But you'll be court-martialed for this." Marcus shrugged, offering the cadet his shoulder for support. "Maybe, but at least you'll be alive to testify." As medical personnel rushed into the hall and security began asking questions, Marcus couldn't help but smile. Humanity might be new to the galactic stage, but they just learned something important about his species. They didn't back down from a fight, especially when someone couldn't defend themselves. The galaxy was about to discover that sometimes the smallest species carried the biggest bite.